wears them a lot of pots. So
Right.
she puts this on a website and then she puts it up to a...
Okay. I was invited to come here and do a brunch with Chef Mark. And in addition, I have been invited to teach a course along with my husband, my business partner, about restaurants and bakeries to a group of professionals. And then we are also teaching a group of students the following day.
Okay. Well, what are you going to be making at Pelicanani's brunch?
So tomorrow we're making, we're doing banana bread, which is one of the things we're famous for. Sticky buns, which we're definitely famous for. Our biscuits, which we thought would be a nice addition to the bread basket. Our quiche. And then the hotel is doing the main course, and then we're ending with a chocolate cream pie. And all of the things that are coming from me are from the book that I've written.
Oh, and those are all the things that you're serving to the people who are going to be demonstrated as well?
No, for the demo, we're demoing sticky buns and quiche.
Okay.
It's actually a fairly aggressive demo, I think. It's an hour, which sounds like a long time, but to do 2 recipes that have multi-parts, I think it'll be, we'll be marching right along.
I am not a great pastry maker. What are the most challenging things about making those things? Is it easy?
I absolutely think it's easy, and it's one of the things I talk about in the book where, I mean, there are certain ways that you need to adjust your thinking if you're not naturally comfortable in the kitchen. But some of them are, to me, they're very basic. And it sounds silly, but if you read the recipe from start to finish, that's a big step up that you have over a lot of people who end up kind of looking at the recipe and looking at the ingredients and thinking, okay, I'm going to do this. And then midway through the recipe, they realize they don't have half the ingredients. So that leads into one of my second suggestions that I always tell people is to get what's called your mise en place together before you start. Mise en place is everything in its place in French, which means that you look at the recipe, you read it through, and then you take all of the ingredients and you actually measure them out and put them in like little cups or little bowls in front of you. And if you do that, then it really is step by step. You read the instruction and it says do this to this. You have your ingredients all out there, and then you go.
And how does this differ, your tutorial 101 versus what you say for the KCC students, the culinary students?
Well, I think for them, the demo that we're doing for both the students and the professionals are recipes that are just a little bit more involved. Again, they're not difficult per se, but they might take into account a little bit more techniques that in the brunch tomorrow I won't really have time to show like a lot of techniques. But for example, with the professionals, I'm doing a hazelnut almond dacquoise, which is a nut meringue. And so meringue isn't hard to make, but you do want to explain it a little bit more. And to the average person who's not comfortable in pastry, I wouldn't necessarily jump into making meringue, because with making meringue, there's different things you have to keep an eye out for. And if you're not used to pastry, you might just be like, that's too complicated, I don't want to do it. So we tried to pick recipes that are a little bit more straightforward for the brunch.
You're so well loved. Do you have any plans to expand this way?
I think if Christopher, my husband, had anything to do with it, yes. We currently have our restaurant and the 3 bakeries in the Boston area, in fact, within about a 5-mile radius. So I'm not really good about branching out, but it's something that, we do have to think about what we're going to eventually do. And I know he loves it here. We just went for a really nice walk and thought this would be a great place to live, so who knows?
That's right, you're a marathoner.
Yes.
Are you coming back for the Honolulu Marathon?
I actually stopped running marathons in 2007, which was when we opened our second location and the restaurant. And I just found that I didn't have time to train. And I'm actually really disappointed because the Boston Marathon, which is the one that I run every year, is in a couple months, and I have 3 employees who are training for it, so I'm getting a little jealous. They come back from their long training runs and tell me all about it, and I just think to myself, I want to do it again. But we went for a short run this morning, and I was panting so heavily. I don't think I can do that. Not anymore. I used to be able to.
Do you have any thoughts on this, Mark? How special is it to have somebody of this caliber come and partner with us?
Well, I mean, for us, I think, Halekulani, they pride themselves on the culinary program. And for us, it's good to show different aspects of the culinary world. Here's our aspect, which is a hotel, and her aspect, which is a standalone bakery, and then also her cafe and the restaurant. So it's just good for the customers to see. And another thing that's exciting is for the customers that they get to see a demo from her book, which I've been working on or reading through, and it is a good book for the home baker. It is. It's got little cute stories, and
I'm
it
not
talks
gonna-
about trial and error. Because I'll tell you, in pastry, it's you might have an idea and you start one way, and you have to you try it out, and you have to take a turn and try something else out. So it's flour is different from one place to the next, you know. So it's a good little kind of detailed oriented book. So I think there'll be.
Either of you're saying that this is so easy. I'm not going to believe you until I make something successfully from it.
Well, we've had, since the book came out, people will send me emails of stuff they've made, and there's a young girl who is 13 who's been making her way through the book. And she started from page 1 and just made the first recipe and then the second one, and she's been marching along.
Oh my gosh, no one just threw down the gauntlet.
Exactly.
Okay, thanks a lot. I'll send you the link when it comes out.
Cool.